the very best, like no one ever was. And then, well, Bright and Mordecai were out doing some totally legitimate, after hours purchases. And by the way, Mordecai, if you all want to know what Mordecai, take a look at Coffee Cat here. Coffee has leaned all the way into Mordecai. We have the beautiful the swept back horns, the wavy blue hair. Now, did you end up also today instantaneously going out and getting full sleeves of colorful tattoos also, or?
I have them, but I didn't put them on today because
Okay.
I have frilly shirt. I don't need it.
My immersion is not as ruined as it could have been.
They are incredibly warm because they don't breathe.
Oh, and you actually
They're
have
basically sleeves. There's not face. It's not paint.
Well, isn't it like nylons, like pantyhose or something, that have an image on them, or?
They are, but they are definitely spandex, and they don't breathe.
Yeah, no, if that's spandex, that.
Well, that's fine.
You want to put your skin in a chokehold? That's one way.
Yeah.
You're on a super secret mission here, so maybe having a little bit of body cover will do you well. But that is very cool for you to have taken the time and the effort to do that. And I do want to point out for others out there that for the audience, I mean, you all know what you've done, but for the audience, as a DM, over the course of all the time that we've been running, I've been very honored that with the characters that have been played, my players have used accents and haven't been afraid of wearing a little makeup or wigs or have props or lean into a particular, like, a foible of the character, something along those lines. And just as a thank you from me to you now as my crew here, because of course, I mean, I want to play D&D with you, and the fact that we have people watching is a cool thing on the side. But thank you all very much for not only setting aside these Tuesday, well, I mean, not for everyone, but I'm going to say Tuesday evening so I can be Maddie-centric. But for setting aside your Tuesday evenings and bringing laughter and bringing analysis and bringing
tears.
Tears. Oh, the tears. The MORDE capital CRY, the Mordecai. For bringing all that to the table, because it has been inspirational for me, and so what I will do as well, because of the situation going on here, and well, we'll see what happens. There's always opportunity to do something. I want you all, as you've inspired me, I will give you an inspiration. And so you all have an inspiration that you can use this session, if you somehow find the need to do so. And I will, I don't know if we ever sat down and I mean, inspiration's been a thing that's existed in the game. But if you want to give your inspiration to someone else, I know we've used it for things like rerolls on a treasure table and things like that. But I don't know if someone is, if a character is, it doesn't have to be next to you. I'm not looking to totally mechanize that, but I don't know. The professor and Jaden are coming in hot on the back of a giant owl, and something happens, and the professor needs a hand, and Jaden's like, yeah, I would totally step up. Jaden, you could give your inspiration to the professor, if you think that would, be thematic, and there's kind of you can describe, even if it's just a lookout or something along those lines, some interaction. But if you want to share your inspirations, you're welcome to do so. So we went over, you're floating some plus ones. Each of you has an inspiration.
Yes.
And now the status of things, we have Bright, who is now more of a pastel, I guess. I guess not even pastel. She is
grayscale.
Grayscale, yeah.
Ghost Bright.
Translucent.
Shiny.
She's normally pastel.
Is she normally pastel? Well, she's not fluorescent.
Did you forget already? I mean, did you forget the colors?
It's bright, very bright pink, like a bright pastel pink.
Well, yeah, but pastels are unless I'm an art pleb. I thought pastels were kind of like a washed out, like a muted. You know, it's what everyone wears around Easter time. It's like
It's whites.
Yeah, like
it's tints.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lighter and soft.
You know, like
Y'all
baby
say
blue
prettier art
and
words.
Bright is bright is a vivid but not fluorescent pink.
yes.
So
Although I'm sure if I cast light on her, she would fluoresce.
She just goes neon.
I'm willing to conduct this experiment at some point in time. However, she is a little preoccupied as she is ethereal in the moment, and is crawling through the guts of this giant ship, this whale-like ship, that has been studied and scrutinized by her. I think on that, except on the last roll, she just sort of was like, "Oh, there's a thing over here," and got distracted. Then we have Mordecai, who's up on deck and is currently kind of Metal Gear Solid, is crawling across the weapon that will surpass Metal Gear here. And everyone has rushing around. You're trying to dodge guards. Well, they haven't seen you. They can still trip over you or step on your tail and make you go, yow. And so you're crawling across the deck. You're looking out for this and that. You've noticed that some figure has been particularly assaulting one of the ships. And then on the pier, we've had the backup arrive. The cavalry is here, and the cavalry has taken the form of 8 giant owls, and upon 3 of which is an Inspector Jaden Stillwaters, a Casimir Escheril, or, I mean, an alternate pronunciation that's still acceptable, depending on who's the one saying it, and Professor Cypherius. And you all were incoming. We're kind of in narrative. We're still in a narrative initiative, as there hasn't been an exact fight for your life, or that we need to micromanage every 6 seconds of it in the moment. So we're having a bit of a back and forth. And we had finished a round by going through, and just to remind you, there are four battleships on this side, and 2, I guess, like little skirmishers, like escorts. 2 on this side. There is a figure or figures that have been running out to this point and have been using a spell that creates this constant connection of electricity. And they've really been targeting the engines of this ship. There are some fires that are burning, although they may not burn for too much longer if this since this big ship, this big airship or water pump ship, has been slowly turning. And I believe where we had left off was it's about at the it's turned around, like its nose is where its butt is in the illustration. But, pardon, as I drew this in MS Paint, I don't have cool separate layers or anything, so we just need to turn it around. And so, actually, if that's the case, I'm going to say that the ships that were on fire here are really kind of starting to smoke and be washed out, because there is just a torrent of water that is still continuing to pour out of the opened mouth-ish area of this giant ship. And so there's a lot of water kind of splooshing up against the docks and against the kind of the break wall here. And so a lot of the ships are straining against the ropes and going this way and that. But at least it's helping to put out fires, including, I believe, this boat in particular. Someone was importing an entire boatload of cabbages when things just started. Cannons were misfiring, and that poor ship took a hit. And I mean, there's cabbage everywhere in the harbor now. It's terrible. Now we got to watch out for the manatees, because they're going to start swarming once there's cabbage in the water. So I'm going to say this building, there's some water. That's flooding up here, but it's not like super torrenting over this. And then there's been no address of the ships or the buildings on fire over here, if that's even something you all want to do. Let's go back up to the top. And in fact, I want to get... We have some nice Docks District music, which is, you know, something. But I think I might have something with a little bit more... maybe a little bit more tension. Because the seagulls are not, you know, cooing contentedly here.
You need some battle themes there, Maddie.
Yeah. And I think I only have, like, one kind of battleish theme that was loaded up. I'm like, you know what, there's something I meant to do besides the other thing that you all are going to see tonight. And I completely... Yeah, I must have not... That's fine. I'll find a nice skirmish theme. Well, actually, I have a skirmish, so we'll play this. Okay. So the air is tense, and we come back up, and we're at Bright because the order of things actually kind of turned out to be Bright and Mordecai, which is good because both of you are kind of doing the same thing but different. And then, since we had a majority of everyone else on the back of Owls, Jaden, the Professor, and Casimir, and we're in narrative time, it would go team, I guess, like Mortarbright or Brightakai. And then we would have
Prof. J-Kaz.
Prof. J-Kaz, there we go. Prof. J-Kaz. And then I would get to do stuff, which would be the ships, and then perhaps any ne'er-do-wells that are still out there and causing a scene.
Causing a ruckus.
A ruckus.
Oh, that does remind me too, Maddie. I do need to have a chat with you about something during the break.
Okay. Let's survive that long, and then we'll have that chat.
Yep.
Now, Bright. Actually, I start playing skirmish music, and then as I say that here, my goodness, Bright. There's actually a different track that I would like to play for you. Isn't that nice when the teacher just calls you out in the middle of class, like, "Oh, hey, here's this thing."
Called out. Also, Fluff, I don't think it's intentional, but your Discord's using the wrong mic.
What do you mean? I only have one mic.
It's echoey.
How can it be echoey? I was on mute.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hearing clacking and all that. I don't know.
I'm pretty... Huh. How about that? I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense.
It's the ethereal plane where you have found yourself in a tube.
Wow, this is y'all. This is next level role playing. I won't question it.
How that's even possible. Huh.
So we're gonna come back, and if you're good, that is Fluffy, aka Bright, then we can.
Alright, I guess I'll use the mute built into Discord. I have a hardware mute on my microphone, so I don't understand how it's possible for that not to work. I mean, the switch isn't broken because, see, I've got a little light. See,
Huh.
little light
Oh yeah.
on when it's muted, but it's not working. Like the mute, it's not making any difference. See, so
Huh.
I don't understand.
It could just be your headset is playing up.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that'll give me something to play with after this.
Yeah. Project.
But I
Man,
mean,
you were
in the
warned in
meantime-
divination school when your divination spells start leaking, some weird things can happen. So, all right, now Bright. So we're gonna go with you. You had been making your way ethereally through this ship, And of course, there are parts of it that have manifested themselves even on the ethereal plane that have been a physical hindrance or a barrier. And one of the last things you tried to do was to grab like a cluster of wires and tug. And maybe that's what happened. You tugged on the wrong wire or something, and there was a little short. I'm sorry.
And Maddie's internet died.
No pun intended. What? Yeah, my internet died.
No, that's what happened last time.
Oh, all right. Don't scare. I heard my internet died. I'm like, what? I swear, I'm not dropping frames. We're good. I think. Okay. Ooh, I got my cardio for the night. All right.
I don't mean to scare you, Maddie.
No, it's fine.
That's his job.
All right. So you were trying to get through things and to have a kind of a breakthrough moment. Except you wanted a Kool-Aid Man through like a cluster of wires here. And what I'm gonna say for this as well, I mean, this is clearly what was interfering. Was as you're holding you're trying to pull and disconnect. There was some kind of a pulse or a surge that ended up going through these wires, and perhaps that's what knocked you back, or otherwise baffled you in your attempt.
I'm actually glad to know about that, because I have Plan B, and hopefully you'll let me do it. Which is to grab on to the bundle of wires, and then I'm gonna cast Shocking Grasp.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you could. Nothing about being ethereal would stop you, and it's on the ethereal plane, so sure. Okay, you go up to that same bundle of wires, and you cast Shocking Grasp. To touch the wires themselves is you're able to make a connection, and you are expending electricity, or at least some sort of ethereal variant of it, into this wire cluster. And boy, all right. So as a DM, this was not expected. So let's do this. Make an Arcana.
Okay.
And your spell goes off. Your spell slot's consumed. Electricity does fly out from your fingertips here.
Well, there's no. It's a cantrip.
Just a cantrip. But...
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was thinking of the burning one instead. Burning hands. Anyway.
No, I don't really use that. Because see, what I'm going for here is, since it's like a control wire and there's a pulse of energy flying through it, then I'll send my own pulse through it and see what happens. See if I can mess it up.
It's a smart idea.
All right. You are holding onto the wires, and you make this magical connection with them. And as you do, for a moment in your mind, it's not a voice, but it's certainly a maybe a telepathic equivalent, where you're not hearing a voice, but you're understanding a word, you're understanding a command, you're understanding a communication. But in this case, this is one that it's more like you tapped into, and you do not understand the words, as the words are in the Northern Common, in the Shadowhar native tongue, though with as much of a magical style insight into what's happening here. You are getting a intention. I guess it would almost be like an insight, like an arcane insight. And this is one that is redirecting the power that is being output by these engines in order to go to another place. The specifics of the other place are not intelligible to you, but there's an intention that is being broadcast throughout the wire as you make this contact. And you do also pick up something that is pretty universal in most languages, and that's "Ah!"
Okay, good.
It sounded like a surprise, a shock of, perhaps a shock. And you don't need a universal translator to understand that last part before the signal stops going through the wires.
Okay.
And I would also like you to make a perception, please.
I mean, do I have to?
No, you don't have to, but, if you do, then maybe I'll give you something.
14.
Okay.
That's by far my highest perception. By about 13 points.
Yeah, your eyes are really kind of trying to adjust to this, to this whole ethereal thing. The world is, it's not as vivid, but maybe it's a different kind of vivid. The grays have just been, have been so magnificent. As an aside, in my world, don't you love it when people open up a sentence with that? The gnomes have such an artistic taste that they prefer the shades of gray because only a true intellect can separate them. And there's like 1,000 different names for different types of gray. And so like all their stuff, like they'll say, "Oh, pull the gray handle. Which one? Oh, the ash gray one. Which one? They're all gray. No, you uncultured swine." And so gray and gnomes to me will always hold something endearing, and I'm glad that our ethereal gnome is as such. Anyway, back to this world in this game. There is there seems to be several pulses that are you're seeing them travel throughout the ship along these wires. Though through some reasonable deduction compared with the perception, it would take a little bit more time of this kind of extended round, but it does seem like there's maybe a command center or a nodule or some place where a lot of these wires are going to in order to I guess have a to be the things that they are, to carry the signals, to activate thises and that's and communicate.
Sure. Of course.
So you can see where there's kind of like a cluster of them. All right, so Bright, that will be the end of your extended turn here. We go up to the deck to Mordecai. Mordecai, you're on deck. You're crouching behind one of the water cannons against the railing. Here aboard one of well, you're on the big ship, so I mean, don't let the size of this one fool you here. But just to put us in the mood, you're aboard you're on deck. What are you doing? There were a lot of sailors that are clustered around. The last thing you wanted to do was to fly, and you can. I mean, nothing's stopping you, but you would be detected as you're zooming out of there. If not because your tail tickles someone's nose on the way up, or there's just that whoosh of air as,
I'm also invisible.
Yeah, you are invisible.
Do I want to sneak past? Are they getting
you're invisible?
dangerously close to me?
They are rather close to you, yes. Because the deck seems to be filling with sailors. Maybe they've received some kind of an order. Several of them are kind of oogling over the side, and you made a determination that they're saying something and pointing to the one ship that's been under this near constant assault. But others are, they've been assessing damage, or they're taking maybe some kind of a stance or a place on deck in order to receive further orders or to prepare for whatever may happen. But you do have a small cluster of them, and I believe before the internet pooped out last time, it was an acrobatics if you wanted to kind of like contort and do like a little tumble out to the side, and to try and keep yourself all wibbly wobbly as you're going through the ranks.
Yeah, I think that is what I'm going to do because I don't really want them catching me. I'm invisible,
Yes.
so
And you can still fly too.
and I can still fly. So I think I'm gonna do that and kind of fly over the railing on the side to get a better place to be. You said that's in acrobatics.
Yes.
All right. I'm also going to use a +1.
Okay.
So 19.
Not too bad. Okay.
They would have disadvantage trying to detect me because I'm invisible.
Yeah.
This, you are correct. This is more of a, I don't know, does something else happen on the side? It's not for to hear or to, not like a stealth detection or whatever. Okay. So you like kind of stand up and you're almost getting on the railing like how we see scuba divers, right? You kind of like sneaking up and then you're gonna like dip out like fall backwards off the side kind of a thing. Or do I have that correct? Or are you just gonna like boom, super Mordecai out of there?
Kind of getting up on the railing and using the fly to keep my balance, more or less.
Okay. Oh.
And kind of shimmy out of the way so that they don't catch me.
Okay. So you manage. I mean, you're very dexterous. You manage to do so. You kind of go up, and you're having your fly spell aid you a little bit in this case, and from the others, like there's like one dude who is just like, kind of like runs over with the rest of them, and just like leans forward and is like staring right through you, Mordecai, as this goes on, like you're kind of you're supporting yourself a little bit, and just the wee little tip of your tail fluff, kind of like, and he's looking like this, and there's just like, and there's just like a little like a splatter as he sneezes, and the tip of your dark blue fuzz gives him a little tickle on the nose, and the other people standing next to him like look over at him, and he begins like making a gesture. What would you like to do in this instance, as the others are distracted, but you do have you got some boogers on your knees?
Do not like. I am kind of floating off the railing a little bit and finding a new vantage point.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so Mordecai's got a couple goobers here, and takes that moment for the others, and he's just like kind of the one sailor's like, ugh. And you sort of dip at least enough over the edge where there's not there's not some sort of perhaps an ectoplasmic manifestation right on the right on the railing here of the ship. And where is your intended place to float towards? If we go back to the overall view of the ship, you were towards the rear here, and so presuming, like, I don't know, you went off to the side because you were looking out over here. Where would you like to end up? Do you want to float into to an engine? Do you want to float like way up to the aft?
Is there a kind of crow's nest on this ship?
Yeah. There's
I'll
a
go
lookout.
there.
Sure.
If there's somebody occupying it, just on the mast next to it.
Okay. Well, so it's a lookout, but this ship doesn't have sails. Like some of the other ones was able.
Signal that.
Some of the other ones were able to harvest, wind to help propel them. This is a big old tanker. I mean, no amount of wind is really going to help out here. This is a heavy duty, needs all the engines it can get to do whatever it's doing. So yeah, you can pretty well just float up, and it is occupied by a person, but you can just kind of jam out there as you're flying, and I'll put you more in the middle.
I don't want to be somewhere I can fall, because that would not be ideal. So somewhere where I can be out of the way, but still stable, if that makes sense.
Sure. We'll have you then. Because it would be on kind of a mast, but there would be a ladder that you could climb to get up to this lookout tower. And so if you want, you could have floated over, and you can kind of be hanging on to the ladder that's on the mast. And, maybe you're just below the lookout point, but you could hang on to a rung and still, keep your eyes out if you wanted.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. Keeping my eyes peeled.
We have a very pirate-looking Mordecai, like your loose sleeves are kind of flapping here as you're holding onto the mast and looking out over this great ship and a swirling combat around you. Unfortunately, there's no sail that you can plunge a dagger into and rip down.
He's even got the puffy shirt.
He does have the puffy shirt. Now, if you do want to plunge a dagger into one of the engines and rip down it, you can. You just got to let me know that's what you want to do.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to Professor Kasdan. Was that it?
Yes, Professor.
Yeah. Professor Kasdan. You have the plural you have summoned and mounted a squad of 8 owls, and your intention is. Each of you could do something individually if you want to just fly somewhere else, or you just, I don't want to go straight up. You want to go put out a fire. You want to explore the big ship. You want to just crash into one of the small ones. You want to go for a swim. I don't know. But you can take your actions however you want here.
Well, I have 2 ideas, and it'll depend on what the others would like to do. I would rather have backup before I go ahead and decide to do either of these. We could either head straight for the big ship, or we could see if we can't commandeer one of the smaller ones.
Commandeering sounds fun.
I would say that we are much less likely to have collateral damage if the ne'er-do-wells throwing spells around or willy-nilly have one less target. What do you think of this, Investigator?
Right now, we don't have a whole lot of time to end discussing the matter, so as far as I'm concerned, let's just aim downrange and end up letting the bolt fly. In this case...
Aim downrange and letting the bolt fly? I think I can go along with that.
Get me on the lead ship. See what I can do.
Sounds like plan.
Right. Alright then. It looks like that the Owl Battalion is going into a dive bomb formation headed straight for the lead ship.
Which one are you labeling the lead ship? Or do you mean the big...
The big one.
The big
The
one?
big one.
Alright.
The bacon.
The biggest is the leader because it's the biggest.
Alright, so...
I'm about to bite it right.
And that's why Hodor won the Iron Throne.
Professor Kasdan makes a flying V formation, the most powerful formation in all of hockey, as is proven in a children's Disney movie.
You know, I was gonna flip you off, but then I realized PG-13.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Chroma Company, I guess you could be like the Flying C.
I'm going home now.
Okay, bye. It's just the inspector just takes the owl back.
She's
to
like, yeah,
town.
no, I didn't sign up for this. I'm leaving.
We get
No,
halfway there, we just all land in the water and float.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, no, I can't really be bothered. They've got this. But no, we're going to head straight for the big ship and.
Okay. Well, then the owls can certainly do so, and over the course of this narrated turn here, you are flying in. Now, the owls themselves aren't necessarily too subtle, and there is a lot of people on lookout. So there are shouts that go up, and fingers that are pointing. In fact, Mordecai, from your perch, you can see that's sort of like rising up over the edge of this big tanker, because they were summoned. They would have been summoned lower, like towards the water level, and you're not at water level in this big tanker ship. Like if you've seen ore freights or oil tankers, you know that. I mean, you're up, and you just see like cresting over the back of the ship is just 8 great owls that are flying over. And there's a lot of shouts, and a lot of sailors are grabbing weapons, or perhaps some of them have some spell-casting implements, and there is an alert that starts going through. Oh, and I do want to add, Mordecai, that the person that was in the lookout tower, because you floated up, you're assessing that area, there's some kind of a metal tube that this person was speaking into that reminded you a lot of the metal tube that is located in Investigator Stillwater's office. And this person, it wasn't saying anything into it, but it reminded you of it. Though you hear kind of a tinny, ah! And a couple sparks come out of it. And the person who is in the lookout tower just sort of like goes over and kind of taps on it and then gives a bit of a shrug. And then suddenly owls. So if it's not one thing, it's another.
All right.
Where can you all, I guess, like assign yourself to an owl or somewhere along the rear of the ship or along one of the rear engines? Can you just place where you're at with your owl? Which is kindly we're kindly using the Jasper placeholder token for an owl, but where are you then? As you've hopped aboard, you're making this plan, and you are... Sound a feasting horn!
Straight from the back of the ship, so we land on the back of the deck, right? Unless you would like to insert somewhere else.
Put me in the center of it, and that's all that matters.
So all 3 of us are heading straight for the,
Alright. There we go. And then Casimir, where would you like to disperse your owls otherwise?
Keeping them around us.
Sure. Okay, providing like a support formation and...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're the double V now.
Yeah.
Well, hey, what's better than 1V, 2Vs?
Except in letter form, we'll call it a W, even though it's a double V.
You know what? After this, we're
responsible
all watching Hot
social
Shots,
distancing chokes. I'm sorry. What was that? What was that, Derek?
After this, we're watching Hot Shots. All you need to be re-educated.
Hot Shot. Yeah. Let's make it a double feature and watch Hot Shots Part 2 as well.
I have seen Hot Shots.
The opening,
You
man.
goddamn horsers.
when they're in the, speaking of pit fighting, I'll get a pit fighting reference in this session if nothing else. When they're in the underground fighting club and the one dude like dips his knuckles.
You're already screwing up the first 2 rules, okay? So stop it, move on.
Don't talk about first.
Talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, first rule of Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club.
Fine.
second rule of Fight Club. See part 1.
Audience, look at this. They're bullying me. I'm the DM. I'm the one with the power. This is my game. Table flip. All right. So you all are positioning yourselves.
Fine. Camera flip.
Oh. Oh, actually, all right. Technically, this would be the front of the ship, because the ship has done a 180 from how you see it. I don't know if that changes anything, because it's kind of... The difference would be one end is shooting out water and the other is not, but you can easily avoid the water gout on your owls. Does that matter?
I don't think so.
Probably not? Okay. Alright, so you're technically at the aft of the ship, not at the stern. Alright, then I get to do things with the ships. The big ship continues its slow turn, and I'm going to say it's about at the 6 o'clock mark from where we originally saw it. And so this really long schooner, like a big freight ship, is just loop. There's waves and a lot of water is being pushed and gushed up. That is starting to not flood the streets under like a deluge of 6 feet high, but there's a lot of water pouring up out of the harbor. Pardon.
So, hey, when you said they were at the aft and not the stern, could you clarify that a little bit?
They're at the. Or I'm sorry. Did I? Because the ship here has, by the time they reached it, the head of the ship.
So, but it's so they're at the front end.
Yeah, they're at the front end. I'm sorry if I was redundant. They are at the front of the ship that it had opened up and is gushing water through its pump mechanism.
Okay.
Actually, I should ask: do you want to go for the deck, or do you want to fly into the mouth of this thing and go like into the interior of it?
That's a good question. We want to go inside, or we want on top?
Why not
We
both?
get to quicker. Why not both?
Yeah, why not both?
I'll take topside.
I will stick with investigator.
All right, then I will head into the interior because I can wreak some havoc with the engines.
Okay. Then I'm gonna move the professor. I'm going to move you like up here.
Yep.
By bright. You're not by bright necessarily. Maybe you are. Who knows? But just to indicate that you are inside. You're in a different place than the others here. As you split and the two go high and you go low. Casimir, do you want to send in any support owls into the interior of the ship as well?
Yeah, you can send
2. All right. So the professor, the professor has some backup owls going in as well. All right, very good. So we'll kind of tighten up the formation here. All right, stay on target. Stay on target. Okay. So the ones continue to turn, and from your vantage point, Mordecai, I want you to make a perception at disadvantage to see if you have a chance at picking up on something that's going on.
Well, fingers crossed. That's still a 20.
Wow, yeah, that's not too bad.
Would have been a 31, but...
Okay. Mordecai, from your vantage point, you hear another cry, but it doesn't sound like a tinny static cry from some kind of a speaking tube. It comes in pretty clear over the air, and amid the cacophony of hooting and hollering, there's another kind of like a Wilhelm-style scream, as from one of the two ships over here, not the one that had been targeted by lightning, but you're hearing you're hearing some sailors scream and the sounds of maybe melee combat or something going on.
Fair enough.
And that is going to cause... I mean, why'd I have to roll a disadvantage? These people can't hit the broadside of a barn if they're floating next to it. All right, there's another barrage. Except what happens is this middle ship, as it turns, and there's some cannon fire, which has been dismayable. I just made that up. It's dismayable information. But as it's turning, the cannons absolutely, if there's a target on the ground that they miss, they do so. And while they can't hit the broadside of a barn, it is a broadside. It is a broadside of cannons, and they do in fact go off and are going to impact another ship. And the ship that they are going to impact, instead of the intended area, is going to be. The large ship is going to be if I roll a 4. And I do. All right. So this central one is making kind of a listing spin. Cannons, a barrage of cannons go off, and you all can hear. Like, there's almost that coordinated. Everyone on the bridge of the Enterprise, despite having inertial dampeners that can like mitigate, faster than light travel, all go in a coordinated fashion. As several cannons just come into this engine over here, and they, like, you just see dents put into the metal housing, and there's just this weird kind of now arrhythmic whine that is that's coming from it. There does not appear to be any sort of, I guess, like a leak or something like rupturing or exploding. But the engine was impacted by cannon fire, and it's sounding kind of bad.
Not excited about that.
So something's going on over here. Then that is the big ship. Big wheels keep on turning. It's at 6 o'clock, and then there is this figure over here appears again, and once more, this arcing electricity just reaches out across the water and is like tearing across until it finds this big metal donut and just connects with it, and you're just getting this like Ghostbusters style like plasma or positronic or whatever energy that is just pouring into this, and that engine is also starting to whine again as it was before. And it would seem like, I believe you made the determination last time, Mordecai, that she can't take much more of this captain. And we might see something happen here as the engine is under assault once more by this continually arcing electricity from a figure on the point. Now we come back up, and we are over to Bright. Bright, you are still on the interior. You did hear, like, you got even... Whatever. Let's play into the trope. Even you on the ethereal plane, whoa, as the ship rocked a little bit, and
well, I'm probably holding onto the wires, so I probably would a little bit.
And oh yes, you're feeling things here, and with this contact as well, you are getting a sense of urgency. You can't understand the words, but there is a feeling of urgency that is going through the wires.
How about that? Okay, so keeping in mind that I have a 60-foot range of vision and or hearing extending out onto the material plane.
Okay.
So, did I notice anything happening?
Yeah, that's true. You do have... Wow, it's even 60. Okay, so I guess...
Text.
I guess, you can't see anything more than 60 feet away. Sure. This is the tanker itself is more than 60 feet front to back, but not side to side here. What I will say is you are for sure going to see that there's a squad of owls that has breached the front of the ship and is flying into the interior, and that there is a lot of like pulsing signals going through these wire clusters on the ethereal plane, and there's a lot of people that are running around and they're shouting and saying things. A couple people even probably have like passed by you, or one of them might have even passed through you on this lower deck, sort of in this whatever, like a maintenance tube or whatever.
The maintenance tube.
The Jeffries tube.
Yeah, it's called the Jeffries tube.
Yeah.
Jeffries.
Now, I will ask for an infamous perception once more to see if there's any bonus information that Bright might have picked up as you're trying to gaze through the tangle of things that could obscure your vision on the ethereal plane.
That's my more typical perception roll.
Okay, at least we're back in the saddle, and we're back in a comfortable, comfortable less than 10. So yeah, I guess Bright, you're the spider in the middle of the web. You're in a happy place, and for now, something obviously impacted the ship and happened, but you didn't really see what. You didn't catch that, and the crew that is just landing on the top deck at the top deck would be just beyond your vision. But I guess where there's one, there's more. You've seen giant owls before.
Yeah, I mean, the giant owls are kind of a giveaway, honestly. So, this is actually kind of a complicating factor for me because I wasn't, like, this was supposed to be just me. I wasn't expecting everybody else to be here too. I hope they can take care of themselves because I'm kind of tapped out, so I hope I don't need to save anyone because I wouldn't be very good at it. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I want to see if this will work, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. But I want to try to contact the presence that I felt through the wire was sending.
All right. Yeah, we're in kind of a weird magical mood right now. Go ahead and make an Arcana check alongside this.
Okay. 18.
All right.
If that was a contested roll, I think I win.
Yeah. It's my turn to roll under 10, and this is. Are you using this to just try and open up an eavesdrop, or do you want to try and put a message into the wires?
No, I'm trying to put the message in.
Okay.
Because if I were trying to eavesdrop, I would be using detect thoughts.
Okay.
But
what are you sending then?
yeah, so I want to try and contact the presence that said "ow" when I zapped them, and I want to send to them. And basically, what I want to say is, "Who are you? Why are you here? Do you need me to help you, or do you want to fight me?" That's all.
Okay. The classic the classic end, the signature at the end of the sendings is that's all. Okay. Boy, this is getting weird for me. But I'll allow it. We'll play it where it lies.
I mean, I could have said friend or foe in just 3 words. That would be a waste of 22 words.
Brian's just like, identify yourself. Come fight me, bro. It was a call out.
It wasn't a call out. It was more like an offer.
Oh, gracious!
Which languages do you speak, Bright? Can you remind me again?
Just Common and Gnomish and Elvish. But sending transcends language barriers.
Yeah. Okay. So you insert your message into the wires, and you get back to us, it would sound like an old dial-up modem, like you're trying to connect to America Online or whatever. It's as if like 1,000 voices all just spoke at the same time, and trying to get a syllable in, let alone 25 words.
Okay.
And many of them, most of them are in the Northern Common, from kind of maybe an accent or an inflection on something that you heard in the cacophony that was the reply. And make an investigation or an insight, whichever you'd prefer. I think I know, but yeah, I'll open it up just in case.
That's actually a good choice. Insight. Oh no.
All right. So consistent with our sevens, there's
so I thought insight might be more useful.
It might be some kind of magical. It might be could be a magical interference, a property of these wires. I mean, you're kind of doing a magical experiment on the fly, even though you're not the one flying. And this is you've kind of made contact with something or some things, plural. Do you want to move anywhere, or do you want to stay put in this round?
Yeah. So, do I have a sense? So, what I'm gathering is that all of these presences are from kind of one location, right?
It's like seemingly the whole network that you were like. Usually, you're grabbing a bundle here. You just got a bunch of feedback.
Okay. Right. So in that case, I just want to follow the wire. I'll just kind of do hand over hand on the wire to get closer to the outside of the ship. Any particular direction is fine. I want to move my, and I think imperialness has its own movement speed. So, no, I guess it doesn't. I guess I can still only move 25. Well, that's lame. Faster.
You ascend the cage of flesh that is bright, only to still be contained by your your flesh.
Movement speed. Darn it. Okay, so in that case, I just want to move my poopy 25 feet towards the outside of the ship, whichever side I think is closer.
Okay. Sure. If you're going towards the outside of the ship, you can go out towards one of the engines here.
Okay.
You have a couple options. Where the professor's flying is another one of these engines. It's an internal one, maybe one that is getting the pumps going. So there is an engine here. There's an engine off to the outside of the ship, and then where the wires seemingly are all or not all, but a lot of them are sort of going up into a central area. Is close-ish by here. Maybe underneath where Mordecai is, since there's a voice tube that apparently goes up to Mordecai in the crow's nest there. But all those wires do seem to all funnel to a point in the middle of the ship. So the professor's up by the pump, you're by an engine, and there's also this command center. You can honestly choose either any of those locations and make it with this narrative speed that you have.
Okay, so I definitely don't want the internal engine.
Okay.
That one's not safe. So I'll go closer to the command center. but I want to do it while keeping an eye out to make sure that I'm, like, if anybody can see me, that I see them as well. If that makes sense.
Okay. Sure. So you creep over to the command center, and you're kind of like hand over hand through the inside of the ship here. And, I mean, it's 25 feet, but at least, you know, it's as the bright flies, because you can just sort of phase through just about anything here, except the wires, but they're the ones guiding you. All right, and what is, as you make your way into this command center that opens up, we have a...
Ooh. It's big.
Yeah, this is a big, like, oil tanker sized as we would know it.
And it's cool looking, too.
So you end up sort of poking your ethereal head. You poke your ethereal head through, and you just see that there's a lot of conduits. There is another... It's not shaped in a similar fashion as the engines, but it is just as blocked out or restricted to you on the ethereal plane. And there's some people that are working this main machine, or whatever this is. And they're shouting. One person, and we're going to say it's the one with the hat and the cane, is in the illustration, is giving is shouting some orders to people who are taking down some notes, and one of them runs off in the other direction down this hallway. And now I need you to make another perception, Bright.
Oh, no.
Eventually we'll... Okay, so 7. Lucky 7s. Lucky 7. Who... We asked the divination wizard, who'd have thought? Who knew?
Gnomes are among the luckiest of creatures. That's why no casinos let us in. You've never seen a gnome in a casino, have you? And this is why. Nothing but 7s.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of... You pull yourself up through the plating, and this is the scene that you see, as this is some kind of there's like you see wires that exist that still exist on the ethereal plane. They're going into this engine. The commander, I guess, does have a speaking tube, and there's some other doodads and hobnobs and boppets and twistits and all sorts of other fancy things that are here.
But I wouldn't give for another level 5 spell slot.
So
I think that's a carry amount of actions.
We are going to go then topside, which is pretty much right above where you're at, Bright, as we follow one of these tubes going out of the machine up to the deck. And we are over to Mordecai. Mordecai, there's combat going on this ship. This one has another arcing lightning bolt that is trained on one of the engines, and apparently the original drawing that I made here for the pier is anyway. And there's a bunch of sailors aboard. They have some weapons. They're starting to rush towards this group of 5 owls. And apparently there's maybe like 2 people riding on the owls. But there's a lot of shouting, a lot of hubbub, and what are you doing while you're holding on to the ladder below the, like this little spotting tower?
Ooh. I cast a spell, like message. I am no longer visible, no longer invisible. I would be revealed.
Yep.
Let's see here. Do I know who's riding in on the owls? I'm pretty sure that I've seen these owls before.
That would take an active perception because they're moving, and while you do have dark vision, it'd still be at disadvantage because darkness is treated as dim light. Dim light would be disadvantage.
Okay.
I mean, we're in narrative, so you have more than one action-ish, but this would be, you know, it would take an action-ish or a part of an action in this narrative time.
Okay. But there's no obvious signs as to who it is.
Not at this moment, no. I mean, as they make a scene or something happens, it might become more evident. But there's nothing like they're not. I don't think Chroma Company has a big old like charge kind of come in with a flying banner or something like that.
Oh, really? What am I doing?
If you're in a perceptive mood, you can try and focus more on what could be happening at the other ship that's not being magically attacked, or I don't know. You can continue to stealth around, position yourself somewhere.
I want to figure out who's coming in towards the ship because I want to figure out if they're hostile.
Sure. Then go ahead and make a perception at disadvantage. 17? 17, and you know, I'll throw in a little bit of the context that this isn't the first time you've seen owls, but now you've actually had to see the owls by kind of squinting in the darkness, because I guess that works. I don't know. I don't have dark vision. So you squint because it's too dark and you got to focus your eyes or something, and you're like, oh, I don't. That's probably Casimir. I mean, I've seen those owls like that before. I mean, not that, you know, might be the only person who could ever summon owls, but I don't think Casimir gives them all like a scar over the eye or something like that. Or a racing stripe or something.
Otherwise, I'm just waiting for bright signal.
He would do both of those things.
Okay. But you're charging headlong, Casimir.
Otherwise, if they're not coming after me, then, or what have you, then I am just waiting for bright signal.
Sure. Okay. Given where you're at, you might be able to get a signal. All right, so let's go to Professor Kasdan. Let's work with Jaden and Casimir first. Remember, you are at the front of the ship. It is facing 6 o'clock on the map. There's a lot of water. Like you can feel the decks just sort of like rumbling with the vibration as water is continuing to pump out. And you and your owls are seeing that there's a lot of sailors that are rushing forward with cudgels and crossbows and some other weaponry that are going to be engaging you here, unless, I don't know, you do something else. But you have been spotted. The alerts have gone up. They all have exclamation points above their heads.
Before we begin, an important question.
Yes?
This isn't the way to the latrine, is it?
Don't think it is.
Okay, because all I see is shit on the poop deck.
We can get away with that word as much as we want thanks to PG-13 guidelines. It's the one word we're allowed, as many as we want of. But,
And,
poignant.
Oh, God, what did you say? Okay. At this point, Jaden will engage.
Okay. And are you just like pulling your warhammer and shield and like you're
No, I'm currently pulling out a sword of fire and screaming fear.
That's right.
Sunblade.
All right, so you got your Kylo Ren, your claymore, kind of a. You're on the deck, and it just extends out in the darkness here. And Well, Mordecai, if you wanted a signal, while it would be past the time for you to act, there is a very distinctive hum and a glow as there is this sunblade that lights up the deck, and I guess is moving in for the kill, doing it for the thrill.
Well, to be fair, I'm expecting you to send a few of them overboard.
And then Casimir, you're slinging an axe, and
Of course.
all right. Okay, then. What do you having your owls do?
They will stay in a formation near us. If possible. Oh, wait, how many owls we have? Yeah. If possible, within our melee range so we can protect them.
Okay, so I guess they're really big owls, and you want them in a super tight formation. You can.
They can fly. Let's do some 3D&D. Some of them are above us.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, I guess they're kind of floating. They're just kind of like in a tight circle around
something
you.
like that.
All right.
Something like that.
Alrighty. So we are going to move into kind of an abstract combat, not yet, but as you are prepared for combat, you're welcoming it, or we want to initiate it. Whether that means taking heads or tossing people over or doing whatever, we'll get to that. Now we're going to go to Professor Cypherius. You have flown into a large central, like a cargo area, which in many respects would look like would look similar to what Bright saw, except you're not seeing a command center. You are seeing some large pipes because there's a lot of water that is you can hear rushing through the pipes. Though instead of this kind of command station, there is something that looks like one of the external engines, except it is upright. Think almost like, do you remember that kind of Art Deco looking computer in the Batman animated movie, The Phantasm?
Yes.
It looks kind of like that. It's kind of like a monolithic, just kind of a humming central point that these pipes are all like going up into. And then you can hear the whoosh of water as it's being guided out the front of this like tanker whale's mouth, and then there are pipes that are going up through the decks that are to where the little like the water guns on the deck are. Oh, and by the way, for Casimir and Jane, there are some sailors that have like rushed over and are gonna like try and turn the water guns on you as well. So brace for that. But Professor, so you're here. There are sailors in here as well. As you fly in, and of course you have these other owls. And you can understand what they yell.
I can, yes.
Which, I mean, it's something to the akin of intruder attack, but and tell the captain. But there's a reaction as you are, you're seen flying in your formation with the owls. And what are you doing when you are in this part? I will say that there is like a tunnel that would go even further into the ship, and that's out of character. That's probably where Bright is, and where Bright saw someone go through a tunnel. Otherwise, like you'd probably see actually someone when you're flying in. You'd see someone like running out and yelling something like "Captain's orders," and there we go. So it's on you. What are you doing, Professor?
So what I am going to be doing is my shield and longsword are going to appear in hand in a flash.
Okay.
And I'm going to shout in Shadahari Common to part the way lest they be frozen.
Oh.
And I'll say that, and I'm going to ready a spell.
Okay.
I'm going to be readying I'm going to be readying. I'm gonna call it Cone of Deep Space, but it's Cone of Cold.
Okay.
And basically, if they move, it won't go off. If they don't move, it's happening. If they decide to try and attack me, the spell's going on.
Okay. Okay,
So I'm holding an action to do that.
You're holding to give, alright, a cone of cold if you're rushed by sailors.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else? We're still kind of narrative. Like, I don't know if you want to look around or if you want to, like, hey, what's this one thing? Can I try and figure it out? Do you want to have, like, an interaction in some way as well as your preparation for a spell?
Yeah, I'd like to take a look. I would like to take a look at the engine, because it is the big thing in front of me.
Okay. You just want to look at it to see if there's like details you want to see as per perception, or are you trying to piece things together, or are you trying to figure something else out? Like, how do you want to route this skill?
So basically, I mean, given my already known specialties, would I have any idea about the Shadowhari engines and the way that they fly the way that they power their airships?
This would have been something that is you may be aware. I mean, knowing that they have airships is one thing. What powers them in character, even to the professor, would not be known.
And that'll be what I'm figuring out, though.
Okay, all right. Sure, then go ahead and make a history can work if you want to go history. I'll offer this. You could do a history at advantage or an arcana straight up.
I'll do a history at advantage. For a 23.
Well, it's better than a 22.
Yeah. Margin.
All right. Judging from what you can read on the panels and the machinery, it's not clear evidence. It's not like, oh, insert lamp oil here or something like that. But there do seem to be a lot of wards, and there is you're seeing some signage as well. Something about breach containment, and you're seeing things like I don't know. You know how we kind of have the silhouette outline of people, like, don't don't put your hand in gears, or caution, this will shock you to death. We have like those people silhouettes and kind of a cartoonish, like
caution sign.
Yeah, like a caution of some variety, so that people may understand.
I know all of those signs.
It would seem like this, they had practiced a kind of a necromancy that went on to split off and come back down here. A lot of the cautions. A lot of the signage, things talking about breaches even, which might send a chill up your spine. But it would seem that the engine has something to do with necromancy, because there are warnings about, like a little silhouette, like, oh, don't get possessed, or something. I don't know. You can come up with however that sign looks in your brain, or like a skeleton chasing a dude. I don't know. Yeah, this is a necromancy engine of some kind, which is probably fascinating and maybe even deeply disturbing if they've been able to sort of enginize or draw power from their faith or practices.
Interesting but perturbing is about the way that I'd put it. Or a better way, if anyone's ever played Cards Against Humanity, that card, what would Grandma find disturbingly yet oddly charming? That she finds this disturbingly yet oddly charming.
I was thinking the scene from Happy Gilmore where Happy goes to the retirement home and Grandma's out there because the retirement home has her doing gardening, and she's like, my fingers hurt. Oh, in this case, the Shadowheart says, well, now your back's going to hurt because you just pulled garden duty, Grandma. only Grandma's not with us anymore, and she's still pulled garden duty. Yeah, this is quite a macabre scene for you, Professor, as this is the word you probably, you know what, roll a perception. It's not fair for me to ask Bright to roll it, and I won't have you. Can we stick with lucky sevens? I mean, at this point, I might as well just give Bright stuff on a 7. Now, we're sticking with 22s. All right. I mean, you could flex on Bright. That's cool. You know, whatever.
Well, I did 3 7s, and that's 21, and you went bust.
There we go.
It's not blackjack, unfortunately.
We had our gambling episode not too long ago, too. That was a lot of fun. Maybe I'll have to find a way to do that again. But, all right, anyway. From one of the sailors in the Shadhar speech, you hear the words. You did hear the words possible breach. All right, now you have your cone of void prepared, and so that was the Professor, Jaden, and Kaz. Now my ships get to do something, and we're gonna find out if. Okay. So once more, this ship does open fire and manages to slam another part of the stones away, presumably where that person is, and the ship itself is setting down. It's doing maybe like a controlled spiral, but it's setting down in the water. As the engines are going silent. And then what's happening on the one where there's some kind of a skirmish? All right. There is some more screams, and a couple people are thrown overboard in a living or soon to not be living state, if they're already not living. And the other 2 ships on this side. All right. Well, they have moved to offer support. And with the shutdown of the engine and the one coming down, and then there's someone who is thrown over the edge, and it must have been maybe someone at the helm as the central ship lists and crashes, and we have kind of a 3-ship pileup now, right in the middle. As these 3 are, all right. Well, apparently it's a square now because I don't know how to do this. But anyway, so we have 3 ships. Oh, no, that's we're gonna do this. Oh, that's totally natural ocean. Yay! Oh, there's happy fish and everything lives there. It's blue, right? Okay. So this one has landed. And then these 3 have kind of, because of the urgent actions and everything going on, they're trying to get into position. There's some kind of uncertainty, and the 3 of them just kind of tangle and are and have a crash midair. Mordecai, once more, you as you see these 3 things, these three things just kind of come together in a cacophony of sounds, and splintering wood and groaning metal. The large ship is now at, I'm gonna say more of a. We've gone from 6, now it's more of a 7. It's not turning as quickly, or I was going a little bit. Whatever, something's happening. There's people who are distracted inside the ship, so we don't need to worry about that. And then. While the one did have an engine shutdown, actually it did manage to also smack the lightning bolt ish thing, thrower, proton pack. So that's gonna end up being what happens there. And we're gonna go back up to the top, and we have Bright. Who is in the command center. There's people around a very important looking engine, people talking into tubes, someone giving commands. What do?
Okay. Yeah. Can we go back to the main map for just a second?
Sure.
Okay. Alright, so I assume that I'm much too far to see this guy over
Correct.
here. What about these ships piling up over here?
That is too far for you as well.
Okay. So what about the professor?
The professor has flown in and has moved towards the engine, so yes, I will say that you can see the professor and the three owls at the end. Like he'd be like at the edge of your vision.
Okay.
Because this is a large ship, but sure, yeah, you can see the professor and kind of pointing and saying stuff.
Okay, so let's go back to the control room then.
Sure.
So I can see him, and he's actually in this room with me.
Oh,
Right?
no, he's not. He's not in the room. He's in the next room. There's someone who ran down a hall. I did forget though, because you did roll a 7 on your perception. Bright, this might change what you're doing, but there is where you're at, like you're kind of like peeking up out of the floor, and there is while you're looking around, you see the professor down the hallway here, and there's just this boot step that stops behind you, and you can look up because I knew there was a reason why I said someone was screaming breach. It was because there is a sailor that is wearing some kind of like glowing goggles on his face and is looking straight down at the little part of your head that's poking up through the deck. And you just, and I mean, you hear, you may not understand what it means, but I guess this person snuck up on you or got the best of you and just sort of like looks down, you look up, looks down, looks up. Breach! And
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, it's been fun. I mean, I've really enjoyed my time here, getting to know those mystery creatures in the engines, which I know what they are out of character. So, but yeah, it's time for me to go. So, okay, bye. Thanks for everything. So, I am going to head directly towards the closest edge of the ship.
okay, sure.
And I'm going to move my 25 feet and see how things are.
Alrighty. Bloop.
Okay. I would actually prefer to go the other way if I have the chance.
Like there.
Actually, I was thinking like here.
Oh, okay. Probably a little bit back, but sure. I get where you're.
Well, I don't want to be in the engine, obviously.
Well, yeah, no. There's engines that are beneath the water. There's some that are still above, but yeah, there's plenty of room that you can not phase. You couldn't even phase through an engine in ethereal form anyway because it's solid to you. So
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
you can poke out by one of the engines.
Okay. Am I close enough to see this ship?
I'm sorry, which one? Taggett?
This one here.
Oh, yeah, yep, you can see it.
All right. I'm going to take the dash action and I'm going to head towards it. So
Okay.
I don't know how close that gets me.
Yeah, I mean, you were detected. I mean, a sailor, there's nothing that the sailor did. It just sort of like looked like he was on patrol looking for breaches, and there's a little kind of ghostly gnome poking half her head through the deck. And so yeah, if you're just moving, then sure, you can start manifesting and weaving over, and you can bloop, 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 reach just the tip of this one escort ship.
Okay. And what sort of condition is it in?
It has a little bit of spell damage to it. Looks like some lightning had struck it, kind of melted the metal a little, scorched the wood. But it is, these two ships have been on patrol, but there's been no action from this side. It all seems to shifted to the other one. But they're in a the sailors are on lookout, and they're in a holding pattern. Maybe that they're not firing. They're not like aggressively going over. In fact, they're probably all looking over at where that collision happened, and so there's a couple people pointing and yelling stuff in Shadowhari.
Okay, so now I can see. Can I see this ship over here too, from where I am?
I'm gonna say no on that one because you're just at the tip of the one, but they do have some distance between them.
That's all right. So I want to look through this ship and look for a nice empty space inside the ship, someplace where there's not a lot of traffic.
Okay, this has a similar construction where there's a bunch of these wires that manifest, and there's only 4 engines on this little escort. So you can see where there are things, and thereby you can know where there is not. And there is a big central area inside that you could go to. Now, the wires also do coalesce to another command station of sorts.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use a Misty Step to get 30 feet closer.
Oh, all right. Do you want to go in, are you Misty stepping further,
inside,
like below deck, or do you want to go up to the command deck?
No, I don't. I've had enough command decks for a while.
Sure.
I want to go into a place where I'm basically centrally located, where I can look around the ship easily.
Okay, got it. All right. So yeah, you Misty step in, and there are. I don't know. I'll say there's one sailor below decks who seems to be just checking on a couple things in a routine pattern. But there's no other sailors here since they're presumably all manning the deck or the helm or doing other things. Not that this is a huge. This doesn't carry 200 people or anything. This is a little escort ship. There might be a dozen people aboard.
Sure.
But yeah,
Okay.
so you're pretty much alone. And go ahead and for poops and ha-has, make a perception.
Okay. I do want to remind you that I am still disguised, so I look like a dark blue human ragamuffin.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Then it was a little ghostly dark blue human ragamuffin that had its head.
Just in case it comes up in the future. Okay, and now I'll roll for perception.
Ooh, look at you!
Oh,
Nice green number.
There
I'll
we
stay.
go.
I'll stay. No more cards.
Okay. So the sailor that's going around checking things is seems a little frantic, going to and from, and you got a view for him, especially because you had the encounter aboard the larger ship. He is wearing a similar set of goggles, but doesn't have them pulled down. They're still up on his head as he's just kind of like making sure things, and he's muttering something to himself you can't understand. But he seems very consumed by his work. He is wearing a pair of these goggles, though.
Okay. And there's, he's on the ship that I'm on now.
Yeah,
And
he's actually in this central area you're in, but but he's like checking wires and whatever, and he also seems to there's something he's holding in his hand that he is clutching onto, and he's saying things.
Yeah, cool. Okay. I think I've expended my turn.
Okay. So that is Bright. Now we go to Mordecai. Mordecai, we just had this midair collision. One of the escorts made a water landing. The whining at least has stopped because it shut its engines off. Though there is still a hoverbaloo aboard this ship, which could spill out onto the others. I don't know. You have on the deck, you have Investigator Stillwaters has that sunblade, and we have just a swarm of sailors that are going to crash against Casimir, Jaden, and the Owls.
I do have a question
Yes.
before that happens. What did the sailors do? The ones that I came across?
Oh,
Because they didn't do anything.
yeah,
because that will
there's a
determine.
standoff. There's a standoff right now.
Yeah, and I was like, either move
one of them,
or...
they did speak into the tube, asking for direction. Because there's been an intruder. I'm sorry, yeah. They didn't make a move, so your cone condition wouldn't have gone off. But the possibility for a fight is very real, because you were just called in as as an intruder, and
Yes.
they're asking like, do we engage? All right. So sorry, yeah, you were right to, because this is an odd kind of a conflict as we're playing through this. And so while things may be going on up here, I may not be expressing them outwardly. So I'm sorry. All right. So Mordecai, what are you doing?
Sorry, just to get to the scene a little bit.
Sure.
You said that there are people going after Casimir and Jaden.
Yes, Casimir and Jaden. Now that Jaden has lit up the deck with his sunblade, and of course you can't not recognize that sunblade. You see Inspector Stillwaters and Casimir aboard the deck. There are 5 owls in a tight circle formation, and a bunch of sailors on the deck here that are rushing forward with clubs and crossbows and all manner of other things. There's even probably some spellcasters among them as well.
Okay. I don't like the rushing my friends. Okay. Well. Didn't want to have to murk a bunch of sailors. But I'm pretty sure that I can knock a lot of them. Well, depending how strong they are. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do.
I mean, if you like summon down some sort of like huge fireball, if you can describe how you're using it to knock people out, I'd be open for it. You may not want to just kill people, by the wave, by the swath or something, but I'm open to creative narration or use of your skills or spells or attacks.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out my violin and start playing a new song
Okay.
and conjure barrage.
Ah, all right. And so this is
I'm no longer invisible, but
each creature in a 60-foot cone. Oh my goodness. All right. So Casimir, Casimir, your heart for a moment sings as. Oh,
I do have fly still on, so I would try and not get my friends in it.
okay. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you can.
So I move back a little bit if I need to. It flying, but yeah, I'm hitting enemies with conjure barrage.
All right. And would you describe the barrage as you like fly up and you strike this note like your violin, like, and then you almost like, I don't know, maybe use it as a wand or something. But anyway, from issuing from your bow or violin or both or who knows, this cone of what?
With a bit of a flourish, Mordecai's invisibility disappears, and as soon as he plays a short string of notes, he points the bow towards the enemies, and it's as if the bow itself. Oh, I hit my mic. As if the bow itself duplicates and shoots out from itself.
Oh, okay.
And a bunch of wooden thorns just bombard people.
All right. They streak through the air from you, and we are getting. We are just riddling the deck and thereby the sailors with
with wooden stakes almost.
Yeah, a 60-foot cone. So that could be a lot of people here. I'm gonna roll.
Aren't the vampires usually on the receiving end of those?
Usually.
Oh, how the tables have
I've
turned.
weaponized them myself.
All right, we're gonna say dexterity saving throw. But these are, I mean, this is kind of an extrapolated combat, you know, kind of some minions and whatnot. So let's do, boy, we need a DC 17. So sure, let's roll a, this is the big tanker that there's a lot of people here, probably. Okay. Sploosh! And I'm looking for a 17.
17 to pass, yep.
I count 8 passes.
There's a little floater on each of these too. All right, so we have this unlimited bow works goes off, and just the deck is riddled with violin bows, and there's a lot of as these sailors are struck through, or some of them do some deft and dodging, or the person next to them gets hit and struck down, but over half of them fall to the deck and are bleeding, screaming, dead, or some other kind of not in a good state. So that is going to leave 12 sailors left for you, Casimir and Jaden. And I will actually put a separate big boy here, because I actually have a big boy that is statted up. And let's have a... And this particular has... Okay. And that is 16 piercing damage. Okay, noted.
Yep.
All right. So a lot of them fall, and there is a sailor that is holding a symbol to Weejas, and looks around and kind of like gives a rallying cry, presenting the symbol forward. And now we go to, unless there's anything else from you, Mordecai. You put in a lot of work here. Destroying half the squad. You could fly somewhere, shout something, I don't know. Have some interaction.
And I noticed that this person has a Ouija symbol on them.
Yes.
Is it a Shadowhar Ouija symbol, or is it Mesomaskin?
Shadowhar.
Shadowhar.
Rage button?
We'll say it's like on a. It's almost like an oversized lollipop to us. Like it's on a stick, and it just has a giant Ouija symbol, and is like holding it forward and shouting.
Like a banner.
Not really a banner. More like you're a caster. It would be like an implement of some kind, like maybe a wand, or it could be a holy symbol for that style of magic. You've seen
Right.
Celine cast. But this is
fiddling with myself.
more than just kind of like some sort of command insignia. This actually seems to be, I don't know, it glows with a little bit of energy as there's this. Ah!
Yeah, so it's more like if you tacked the holy symbol, like an amulet onto the end of a wand and held it up.
As a bonus action, I am going to, if Jaden's in range, I'm going to inspire Jaden.
What's your range on inspiration?
60 feet.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. Jaden.
Okay.
Inspired.
Mordecai hits a power chord and.
That flourish is a little bit inspiring.
There's shine to shiny demon. All right. Let's go to. Well, let's stick to the plan on the deck here. We have we have the inspector, and we have Casimir. A goodly amount of sort of generic sailor has fallen, but others are still rushing forward. And there is maybe like a lieutenant style that is in the back of the group here, and is shouting, something. Well, actually, Jaden, you've been studying the language. These are commands like rally, and maybe it's a compliment, but this commander doesn't seem to know which one of you to take out first, because you're both being sized up pretty. I mean, you have a glowing blade, but that doesn't always indicate. That doesn't always indicate. So this leader probably has a little bit of discretion or experience.
Well, there's certain things that end up happening, but thankfully, in this confusion, as he can't make heads or tails of what's going on, I'm going to be very polite about it and smash his light bulb. The confusion will be over in a moment.
Okay. If you want, you can. For us on the deck, it's again a weird blend. We're kind of in a proper initiative, but you'd need to move and dash to get to the leader if you want to rush forward. You would take some attacks of opportunity, but I don't know if the rabble scare you if you're willing to, risk getting hit by a club or something.
You gotta hit him first.
If Jaden is willing to take the AOs and try and bait him to conk him while he's... You have the armor on, don't you?
Bring it. Bring it.
All right. Not everyone is there.
No,
so...
I don't have the armor on.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Remember, it was left back.
Oh, yeah, yep, that's right, that's right. What's the AC I'm looking for?
You're looking at 20, and...
All right.
Let's take a look. How many hits?
It looks like two of them go to Bonky and bonk each other instead. You sort of they go to swing and you just sort of do like a roll, and they just kind of clock each other on the head with those 2 ones, and kind of they're in a staggering animation.
Also, any of them trying to attack Jaden, I could.
You could attack one with Sentinel, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how many actions we get per.
So we'll go with that first 18 with the attack modifier would hit. So Casimir, if you want to use Sentinel as you're rushing up alongside the Inspector, because you two have a really fun battle dynamic as well. So sure, go ahead and you can make a melee attack. 17 will absolutely hit. All right. So what will happen here is we have all right, one of the sailors has grabbed a gaffing hook. So think like a spear, but it has a curved tip, so you can pull stuff over the railing, or you can grab whatever. It is going in to try and swing the hook down to hook it through. If any of you have played Dead by Daylight, you can hook it through the shoulder, and maybe you can pull the person in or whatever. And so this is coming down. And then Casimir, I mean, you run forward, and you have your you have your axe. You're making an attack against this person. Okay. Do you want to describe how you do this, or would you like me to describe how I see it? You have first
you go ahead. You have something in your mind.
Okay. So this person's coming down with a big gaff hook, and it looks like it's gonna hit. Jaden just did a roll and exposed this whole soft neck and shoulder area, and this hook is just coming. It's getting ready, and then you just give a stop hitting yourself, and you come in with your axe, and the momentum you break the gaffing the gaffing hook, or the gaff hook, and so you come up and you sunder the spear, and then you come back with your shield. And you drive the hook through the person instead. And that sailor falls to the deck and is twitching with a giant gaff hook going through himself instead of the enemy. That said, it looks like there is one more that will connect. Actually, 2 more, because that 15 plus the modifier will hit a 20. So, Jaden or Casimir, do either of you have something you want to fend off these other 2 incoming attacks?
No, I'm gonna end up taking this shot.
Okay.
I'll take them both.
Okay. So one I'm gonna have be a one they have like a club, like as per sailors in the background get, just like a nice sturdy, you're like a military police style kind of a cudgel. Okay, so that's gonna be 5 bludgeoning damage as it impacts you and sends a little shockwave through you. And then the other attack is going to come in, and they have a... we'll say this one... we'll say this one has a spear. And 9 piercing damage. Tags you... tags your thighs. You're running past. You're coming up, and you go to dash, and it scrapes across the back, sends some pain up your leg.
That'll work the deep muscle problems.
So you take an action.
Roll to the left.
As you double move through the crowd, but hey, fortunately you're out of the crowd, and there's about, I'd say 15 feet between the sailor and the commander you rushed to. And Casimir, Jaden took the hits for you, so you can double move up to be on this commander as well. Do either of you have anything else you want to do on this turn, since you spent it baiting the attacks of the sailors? And
no, I'm gonna stay within.
I'm just pointing that. I don't know if
all right. So Casimir, you want to stay behind and clean up the sailors and let Jaden take the lieutenant?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, jeez, all right.
We're changing Casimir's name to Casey Jones.
Yeah.
Ooh, that help us.
All right, then I'll tell you what, because they're all kind of clustered up here. There are 12 survivors, and so Casimir, using whirlwind attack, you make a melee attack against any number of creatures within 5 feet of you. I'm going to say that when you're using this to hit the most, we're going to roll. There are 5 sailors that are clustered up close enough to you that you can just, you can play Will It Blend.
Shall I make 4 rolls? Or 5 rolls?
Yeah, go ahead and make 5 rolls. Hit, miss, hit. All right. So Jaden, I don't know. Do you want to have a parting word? Because if you're gonna move and then whirlwind, but Jaden's gonna continue. Is there anything you want to say while Jaden is running off?
Don't worry, I got this.
I think the screaming, cut-up corpses will scream for themselves.
Yeah, Jaden.
I can't hear you over the sound of the bleeding.
And bleeding there is, as of the 5 that were that you ran into the middle of, you just open up and times 3. Although the other ones still make sounds, but it's probably more like they poop themselves a little bit because they just narrowly avoided death from a whirling battle axe. But yeah, so you're standing in the middle, so there's 2 that are still on you, and then there are, so I guess there are 9 in total, but 2 are on you, Casimir. So there's 7 that are still kind of clustered-ish together, and then Jaden has moved up onto the lieutenant. This is going to take us then below decks. Professor Cypherius. I'm sorry. What's that?
There are still the owls.
Oh,
yeah, the owls.
Shoot! You have the owls. I'm sorry. I'm even looking at them. I'm like, oh, those are pretty owls. What do you want your owls to do? I'm sorry. Then Cypherius, think about what you want to do in this tense moment, and then we'll get to you in a second.
They're basically going to dive bomb. They're just going to make an attack and then fly away, so they don't.
Are they?
They don't. They don't provoke opportunity attacks, so they're going to come and attack and then get out of the way.
Okay. Do you want them to? Are you having them attack, or are you having them like grasp the sailors and drag them off?
Just attack.
Just attack? Okay. Then sure. Make 5 attacks from your owls against random
dive bombing.
Yeah.
Dive bombing of talons and beaks, and owls are vicious if you get them pissed off.
Yeah, I don't have Ride of the Valkyrie as a background music or anything.
All right, it's a +3 for each of them. Oh,
Okay.
Three
Well,
of
so
them are a bit there.
yeah. All right, so they go in and move, but maybe because of the blood spray, it's kind of creating a flying hazard. They don't have windshields or whatever, so they got to worry about that. But anyway, two of the sailors fall as the owls just come diving down, like big wings spread, talons open, and then just like right into the meat of the sailors here. And they just they don't even have the breath in their lungs because it had been punctured from the talons, and they're just outright pulped by the giant owls. And the other ones are like waving and hooks and shooting some crossbows, and the owls kind of they dive and move away, but they don't get hits in. So we're down 2 more. So then we are at 7, but 2 are directly in melee with you, Casimir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Professor, who I will say out loud for myself, also has owls. Although I don't know, you have to be able to see the owls to direct them, don't you, Casimir? Are they?
I told them basically to listen to Cypher.
Okay. So Cypher, you're backed up by 3 owls. You're in this pump room. It's a tense situation. As we haven't gotten back to their orders yet in the turn of things. But it does look like we're in a standoff, as there are sailors who are prepared for combat, but they haven't attacked yet.
Alright, so I'm gonna spend my action to activate the rod to regenerate a spell slot.
Okay.
And then I am going to basically ready myself and ready myself and is there a bonus action spell I could do? Because I mean, if there is, I may do that. No, not looking like it. Hex or Misty Step, and those don't really do anything for me. So it'll just be preparing myself and giving the owls the order that if they move, you attack. If they move to attack, you attack.
Okay.
Just waiting it out.
Sure. Alrighty. Then we are, what we'll do is I'll move the ships and have the other combatants take a turn, and then, I don't know about you all, but I need to get up and take a break. We've been going for a little bit, and I'm going to have to take a little personal step away here. So the ships, the one has landed, and there's activity aboard. We have the 3 that are now kind of entangled, and let's find out what happens here. Oh goodness! All right. There is another set of screams as there is just some sort of bloody murder going on aboard the ship. One of the ships that they've all kind of tangled in with each other. So there's a massive 3, and they're all kind of like vibrating and buzzing as they're rattling together, and something is happening over there. The other ones, let's see, Bright is on one, and so the person who's checking stuff, Bright, is, again, has the goggles but doesn't seem to be wearing it. He's very distracted, maybe muttering some kind of a prayer. As he's walking past, it has kind of a chanty quality to it. And so he just is continually repeating the same couple of lines, but is going through and checking on things. Seems to pass you up, and there are... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. Can I make an Arcana to see if that's a spell or anything that I recognize?
Religion.
Okay. Nah, 11.
probably a prayer, but it could be a ritual if he's been doing it for a while. You don't understand the words, but he's certainly doing things in a ritualistic fashion. He's holding onto something, is like seemingly is sort of like is holding it. Oh, you know what? My goodness.
Yeah, we haven't seen you.
Sorry, I'm usually good about that, but we jumped into it. I looked down because here I am. I've been playing to the camera for y'all. So he's holding the symbol. He's going like this to sort of like pet it, so yeah, it could be a ritual that he's doing because he's chanting something under his breath, and he's going around this. The ship though feels like it's moving. And you can hear outside, actually, no, because you're still phased, right? Yeah, you can see that this ship is now passing over the big tanker, and it's leaving just this other little ship, because you can hear the buzzing of the engines growing. Well, I don't know if the sense. Anyway,
let's take the break before we do my turn.
Yeah, we will. I'm doing ships, then NPCs, and then we're gonna take a break, and then we'll go back up to the top for you.
So right now it's actually over the whale ship.
Yeah, it would be over the whale ship, passing over on its way to, I guess, where this one was, before it moved over and became a square. The whale ship turns and is now dousing the ships at dock here and putting the fires out as water continues to just spew and pump. And all throughout this, there's still a beautiful fountain display of water that's being pumped up through the cannons. Although, I mean, some of them were being turned, and we're going to worry about that here when it's the NPC turn. But there is still water pumping out of this thing that was supposedly this big, beautiful, like, it's a living fountain ship and all this wonderful stuff. So that's still going on, and the nose of it is still pointing. It is now pointing at the fires over here at about 8 o'clock. And that is the ships. Then we come back to the NPCs that are doing things, and there is, even in the swirl, there's no glimpses of electricity off to the side, or other whines or screams that don't have a particular place. So maybe whoever was doing that finally got blasted, or something was going on, but there's no overt NPC actions besides whatever the heck is happening on this ship in the Tangle. Okay, so then let's hit our break point. For all of you out there, go stretch, take a drink, or cool off, do whatever you got to do. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, and we're gonna see where else this is gonna take us. So be back, everyone. Thank you for hanging out, watching us, and we'll see you soon.